Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got to tell you, I had to pinch myself as I prepared for this hearing today. I thought I might be dreaming. House Republicans are holding hearings to talk about how cuts to government spending are going to hurt jobs and the economy. It is really amazing. Now, no one thinks sequestration is a good idea. The Meat Act's approach to defense cuts is irrational, and it's obviously bad policy. And it was designed by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, the Republicans, to be so bad that we would make tough decisions about raising revenues and cutting spending so that we could avoid it. Nevertheless, here we are playing brinkmanship again. The same folks who self-righteously opposed President Obama's $700 billion stimulus package, the same folks who sneered and said government never created a single job in America and never would, they're now wringing their hands because of the impact on jobs of about $50 billion in defense cuts in 2013. Of course, $500 billion over 10, but $50 billion next year. Now, there's an easy way out of this. Make tough choices and tough compromises to raise revenues, cut spending, and meet our budget targets. The president is willing to do that. The Democrats in the House are willing to do that. What's the Republican solution? The Ryan budget. Cut employment and training programs, cut food stamps, cut health care for children, the sick and the poor, cut foreclosure prevention, cut taxes for the rich, and lard up the defense budget with an East Coast missile shield, nuclear facilities that no one wants, and billions of dollars of waste far in excess of caps under the Budget Control Act. With all due respect to our witnesses today, you won't see House Republicans calling community leaders, church leaders, the owners of mom and pop businesses, or struggling homeowners to testify on the impact of all these cuts to help the poor and the jobless and the sick. Now, to our witnesses today, each of you are highly talented, highly sought after executives, and I imagine that you are pretty well compensated for the value that you add to your companies, and I deeply respect that. As you've made clear, you're also rightly concerned about the impact of sequestration on your businesses, your employees, and our country's national defense. My first question is, would each of you be willing to forego the 4 to 5% of your annual income that you save under the Bush tax cuts in order to avoid sequestration? Yes or no, Mr. Stevens?
I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to give you a yes or no answer to your question, sir, and I offer that to you respectfully.
Okay.
Good
enough right there. Mr. O'Keefe?
Sir, I think that the choices over revenue and spending is entirely the prerogative of the government, the administration, and the Congress.
Would you be willing to forego your savings if the Bush tax cuts were made permanent in lieu of sequestration? Would you rather have your 4 or 5% and undergo sequestration, or would you, what is your position?
My opinion on the priorities is far less significant than yours,
okay,
and you're
well,
empowered
okay,
to do
so
that.
You're not going to give me an answer on
No, sir.
that?
I think that's a prerogative that really is important for you to make those choices.
I got you. How about you, Mr. Hess?
I would echo Mr. Stevens' response.
All right, and Ms. Williams?
I would do the same.
Okay, well, nobody wants to give up their 4 or 5% that they would save if the Bush tax cuts were made permanent. That is exactly the sentiment that is being represented by the Republicans here in Congress. They will not impose any taxes, any tax increase on those who can afford to bear it. because of the Grover Norquist pledge. And my time has expired.
Gentleman's